Finally, I am able to get back on the trail of the lost city. This massive delay caused by that girl's thievery has been most irritating. Now, though, we're back on track, and I at least have some semi-reliable help. I can't say I trust the pair completely. Roshik is a mystery at times. I have no idea what the man actually wants or who he really serves. He's no wizard, and his lack of knowledge of his own powers makes me think his skill comes from elsewhere. And then there is the priest. Oh, like so many who serve Lathander, he's very willing to throw himself out to aid others, except when those others do not agree with his god's way of doing things. Then they are clearly suspicious, an enemy. Such a lack of foresight, but what can I do? Sadly, I feel I'm going to need them, both of them, for now, so I have to hope the promise of the treasure and saving their little homes is enough to keep them on my side. If I can just find what I really want in the city, it won't matter what they do after anyway. I'll finally be able to attempt what is really important. I'm so close now. If I fail here, then, well, all of it will have been for nothing. This is Red Moon Role-Playing. A light snow has started to fall on the camp as you exit the tent of the shaman. Once more, you are in that central circle with this great roaring bonfire surrounded by these central tents.
Well, we need to get back to our people and make our own camp outside, it seems. Best to not disturb those that are here, but at least being close to them will help keep us a little bit safer, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Safety in numbers. I do trust these people somehow, I say as I look up at this big fire. And I'm also getting slightly drowsy. Just having drunk water, but, riding all day.
We had better get some rest. And I do think it might be a good idea for us to not be too close to these big tents. There seems to be some kind of political machinations going on here, and, well, some of the people we met there, they wanted to draw their weapons, I got the feeling.
Kings and queens, did you hear?
Yeah, different clans meeting, I suppose.
Isn't that interesting? I always thought of kings and queens as something static, rule over this or that area, but kings and queens among nomads?
Well, I suppose. Makes sense. And even if they are nomads, I think they generally tend to stick within certain areas where their reindeer walk. It is a kind of kingdom, as I understand it, but I haven't spent that much time with them.
It's as you are saying this, that from that large tent, there is a bit of commotion. Someone comes out. They are a very large individual, maybe 6-7 foot tall. Currently, they have their hood down, revealing ebony skin, no hair at all, cleanly shaven. Quite an imposing figure. She comes out, this woman, it seems, accompanied by a great beast, a saber-toothed tiger, by her side. As she comes out, another figure comes out as well, almost as tall, but far broader. This man has a great thick elk hide upon his person, and a crown with 2 antlers upon it. They have a thick beard, a weathered face. They look a lot older than the woman.
I stop and I can't help but stare for a bit at these impressive figures, about as tall as myself, and quite formidable to behold. I feel immediate attraction to them somehow.
The woman says to the man, "Yeah, very well. We shall be going. I hope the winters are kind to the elk tribe. You will need to be very careful." And she sort of smirks a little. The individual at the tent, the man, may the tiger find what they are looking for. But I warn you, Queen Bjornhild, You're not right on this occasion. You are not right.
Queen Bjornhild, I mouthed to myself, only for Roman to hear. Look at that skin. Black as ebony.
Is that something that I have observed among the Reghed? It is rather dark and cold here. The natives, if you will, tend to be rather fair-skinned, yes?
Not always, actually. Roll me a history check.
13.
No, this is not unusual at all. You actually will have noticed several different complexions as you have moved through the camp. You know this is because, actually, the Reghed nomads come from several different tribes and cultures. They all came here hundreds and hundreds of years ago, becoming one, as it were, with this land, but their origins are from all across Faerun. So actually, this is not unusual at all.
Yes, of course. They are not actually that old to this land. They've been here for a significant amount of time, but this is not necessarily where all of them originated, so to speak. They come from all parts of Faerun and have made up these tribes. It is interesting, but it is simply a reflection of the beauty of Faerun here in Icewind Dale as well.
And I look between her and the king as they pass ways, and say, they look magnificent. And that beast.
The saber-toothed tiger, is that an animal that is common here in this region?
More in the mountain regions, but yes. Normally they have paler fur. As the spider of the world becomes a little warmer as you go south, they become a little more common.
Yes, magnificent. Very dangerous. Mostly found in the mountains.
I used to be good with animals. Now I don't know. Wouldn't risk it with one of those, I say. And I start moving onwards.
For a moment, you're glancing at this queen is caught, but when you begin moving away, the individual dismisses you, although she does mutter something to some of those nearby, and one of them does point at you and laugh, and you're moving away, so you don't really pay much attention. You also notice the man who still is in the tent is also watching you very carefully, quite stoic.
Yes. Try to get some kind of idea of... Does he seem disappointed? Does he seem angry, upset?
Roll me an insight check.
15.
He seems intrigued. You sense that he might start moving towards you if you just wait a few more seconds.
Curiosity gets the better of me. I mean, I know we weren't supposed to approach, but being approached, there can be no crime in that. Wait here, Roshik, I say.
And as I hear Roman, I look around and I see the king looking at us.
And we wait.
This man begins to move forwards. Meanwhile, the queen and her entourage, it appears, begin moving away swiftly. They clearly have their sleds elsewhere, and it doesn't take long, it seems, for them to be eager to leave and depart. But as they are doing so, this giant of a man comes before you. You are the free who were said to come, yeah?
Yes. From East Haven.
Is it true that it is no more?
East Haven remains. I cannot say the same for Goodmead or Dugan's Hold, however. The Dwergar, they created some form of Chardlin monstrosity. We slew it, but it killed many.
He raises an eyebrow. You slew it. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Have you had any problems with Chardlin or the Dwegar here?
Dwegar, no. Shardlin, yeah. An irritation. The wolf tribe, especially fools. But what can you do?
Excuse me, I am Roshik. I am not of these lands, but I recently arrived and I took part in the fight with this Shardlin monstrosity. I try to gauge him as if he would shake my hand or how he greets.
He stares at you impassively, watching you very carefully.
I give off a little nod, and then I say, "Your shaman mentioned this wolf tribe, and that they had been driven mad. Is this also an effect then of the Shardlin?"
Shardlin is cursed by the demons. It is not something we should use.
That much is true. How is the darkness affecting your people?
Not well. It needs to end soon. Of course, some disagree.
I find that very interesting. Who could possibly disagree with that? It is surely killing all living things.
Not necessarily. He tilts his head towards the now departing individuals, now already starting to vanish into the night. Queen Bjornhild disagrees. She believes that only we shall survive.
And she would welcome such a future, I presume.
Of course, yeah. She believes your towns will soon fall, and finally, the lands will once again belong to us.
There's been a bit of a chafing then between you and the towns, I understand.
He actually looks amused for a few seconds. Do you know anything of these lands, stranger?
I humbly admit that I do not.
You tell me, if you forged a home hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and then people came to claim it from you, calling you barbarian, vermin, what would you do?
Of course I would not take that lightly at all.
Precisely. Such is our history, although we have tried to make it better. We of the Elk have an accord with the 10 towns. We will not harm you if you do not harm us. Not all of the Reghed agree, and I do not blame them. I am no friend of the 10 towns, he says, looking at you, Roman. But to pick at you while you are dying is not our way.
I'm happy to hear that. Going after each other in the middle of this would do no one any good.
The tiger disagrees, but worry not. We will not be aiding them this time. They will wait. But I hope you are ready. Eventually, they will strike. Months from now, days from now, I do not know, but they will wait. But they will not be attacking today. The Elk will not stand with them.
Well, I thank you. Know that we will be doing our best to bring back the light. That is why we are here, as your shaman will probably tell you.
Yeah. As King Yarand Elkheart, you are welcome to spend the night. You are welcome to share of the fire. Then you will go in the morning, and we will go.
That would be amazing. We would love to spend the night by your fire. Thank you.
He nods, glacially slow. It seems a lot of things with this man are very slow.
I think how fitting. Well, we shan't take more of your time. Thank you again.
He nods, and slowly begins turning back to his, it seems, tent. You also notice at this point, Roshik, that very subtly there were an awful lot of people around you. Men and women, armed and ready, but they were simply watching. And as the king goes back to his tent, they too just begin to get back to whatever they were doing.
I nod slowly to myself. Well, look at us, having an encounter with royalty.
That is true. That is true. We have met a lot of colorful people, haven't we? And I assume we will meet many, many more.
I look again at the flames licking the sky, and I feel my mood is somewhat dour, despite what we've just met and seen. I wish to retire, Roman. I will go and set up the tent.
And Roshik, you begin going to where Velen was heading, which does seem to be a place which it seems is set aside for you to set up your tent, set up your sleds, and rest the night. Although as you are heading back, Roshik, you do notice something that actually catches your eye. You see inside one of these tents. You see inside the tent the individuals are slightly less clothed. Still clothed, just not wearing their full cloak regalia. You see what looks like a woman with a child. They both have heavily tanned skin, long dark hair, and the child has something in his hand. Your necklace. No, wait. Of course it's not your necklace, but it looks almost the same.
It gives me a sting. It's like a physical pain almost in the side of my head as I see this. And I feel my eyes stinging as well as I look at them, seeing the family. I try and tear my gaze away.
And yet, the thought is now in the back of your head. How is that necklace here? That was for you and your brother.
It couldn't have been. I look away and I look back again. What the king said. Barbarians, invaders. I know my tribe was referenced as such as well by some people. Without realizing it, I have been moving forward towards the tent, eyes fastened on this necklace. Little carved wooden necklace.
You are at the entrance to the tent. There is someone who stands in your way, not aggressively, just happens to be there. The women and the child pay you no heed, but this man, his hair blonde, sort of just gives you a nod as you come near the tent. Yeah? Something I can do for you?
Good evening. I am merely travelling through. Your king has granted us safe passage. I couldn't help but notice that necklace there, I say, and I gesture towards the child.
The man smiles. Yeah. Charms. We give them to all the children. It is, you could say, tradition, no?
Yes. It's strangely familiar. You see, I come from a tribe of people. Have you ever heard of Port's Last?
No. No, somewhere south, I think. Not my expertise. But no, the charms are made by the mother for the children. But when you are an adult, you finally take them off. You keep them, yeah? But then you give to your children, yeah?
Yeah. I pat the place on my chest where it would have hung. Where did I put it? I know, in the dream, in that other place, I saw my little brother, the dead baby, wearing one. as well. But mine? I suppose I don't really know where it's ended up.
No. You remember it, though. You especially remember some of the decorations with little, tiny fanged teeth. Yeah, each tribe does slightly different, yeah, but it is a Reghed custom.
My mother... she gave me something similar.
Yeah? Oh, interesting. Perhaps she was one of us. He laughs.
I laugh as well. Perhaps... I don't actually know where she originally came from. She was quite the forceful one.
Yeah? Well, maybe. Who knows, friend? It is not unusual, if you're wondering, for Reghed to travel. Many do it these days. There were once many more tribes, but as the times become harder, some decide to travel elsewhere. There is no shame in that. Our lives are free to live as we wish.
And what symbol is this, then? The elk tribe?
Yeah, we are of the elk. Could you not tell from the antlers?
I suppose... oh, that's what it is. Yes, of course. My ones, or mine... My token, my charm, it's used to have fangs on it.
Well, many animals have fangs. Sorry if I cannot help you more. The woman then calls this man in, and he nods at you, saying, "Safe travels, friend. I am needed inside."
Blessed evening with your kin.
And he nods as he closes the tarp behind him.
I stand there, having been shut out. Not unpolitely, of course, but still, it is the feeling of them belonging to theirs, and me belonging with whom now? I shake it off. It's time to get that tent up.
Roman. Roshik went ahead, but you now have a camp to yourself. You can of course follow Roshik, but what do? As for a moment you are by yourself by this great fire, with these individuals getting about their business.
I take the opportunity to pray to Lathander, to honor him and again try to enlist his help in bringing back the light. I know it's not going to work, but, well, it makes me feel better.
As you look into the fire for a moment, you do think you see something move, and there is a whisper on the wind. Hard to tell, but you think, for a moment, you hear something. Something saying, "Wise words. Listen."
Yes. I suppose I should listen. There is truth. Truth in those words.
The wind continues. Nothing more is said.
And, yes, I do see that there is wisdom, there's truth. But I remain the way that I was in there. Slightly torn. Just a small part of me. I think it has been growing recently, though. The darkness.
As you think on that, one thing does suddenly surface to your mind. Something you haven't thought of for quite a while, but now you're thinking like this. It has always been there. You think of your family. Your son, especially.
Yes. I must not fall the way that he did. Was it me? Was it my blood? My ambition? That gift that I gave him, was that what killed him, ultimately? Perhaps. But I must not dwell on that. I have buried them. They are gone. I'm looking forward again. Remember? Yes. The future awaits.
Do you eventually follow where Roshik went to your little tent?
Yes.
And eventually all three of you meet once more, and will have a nice long rest as you sleep well near this camp. Morning comes, although, as always, it is only a slight difference in the light. People are milling round this camp, but no one pays you any mind, it seems, really. Velen seems eager to continue, setting up the sleds. Well, good work, Roman. This was a good place to actually camp, it seems. We didn't cause any problems. We even managed to get a little bit of food out of it. Good stuff. So, probably should just be going now, though. We have places to be. Don't you agree?
I do. It was nice to be able to spend the night in a safe place. But the journey awaits. The road ahead of us is still long.
Roshik?
I get up slowly. Was I able to sleep quite well, or?
You slept fine.
I'm almost surprised at this. It's like when your head aches or your muscles twinge a bit because you've not slept that well in a long time. And especially with a day's exertion, riding so long and everything else. It must have just lulled me into a nice sleep. And I am nodding at the others as they converse, and I feel slightly better somehow after the fatigue.
You do, even though that little event is still with you. You at least feel well rested. But it seems as if all three of you are getting ready to depart. But Roshik, one thing nags at you that you didn't realise was nagging at you. It's, as you said yourself, a king here. But aren't kings land rulers who dwell in castles and have servants like you were? You were a king, weren't you? But this is a very different sort of king.
I was. And in a way, his kingdom has been invaded, and now he stalks around trying to use whatever parts of the land that he can that has not yet been claimed by other forces. I feel sympathy and a bit of compassion for his charge, knowing how hard it is to rule.
And with that thought, you'll mount your axe beak, and all of you will begin heading north. The sea of moving ice awaits you. 2-3 more hours of travel finally bring you to the coastline. The sea is immense, stretching out for thousands of miles. You can already see hundreds of glaciers floating on its surface. You have no idea how you would traverse such terrain. You, Roman, know that boats do, but most of them try sailing around it, as all those who sail into it normally meet a grisly end. This is because the glaciers are constantly forming, constantly changing, making a never-ending maze. A very deadly maze.
Yes, it is not a safe place to travel through.
Look at this. What a sight. I wish the light was here. I suppose we could see for miles of this never-ending landscape of dots floating about in the sea.
Yes. This bell, is it supposed to be on the shoreline somewhere? I say to Velen.
Well, yes, we should be. If I made my calculations correctly, well, hang on a minute, isn't it just something over there? She points to a section of shoreline not too far from you, where there does seem to be a little building. By this little building, there seems to be a little port. This very simple wooden port. There is no one present, of course. Ice surrounds the port, but just a little bit beyond, you see an arch. A natural sort of stone arch. And there's a little wooden platform. And there is what looks like a bronze bell by a large opening in the ice.
That must be it. Huh.
Yes.
That bell right there.
Yes. We should head over there and ring it, huh? I say to Velen and to Roshik.
Yes, seems to be the idea. She clicks her fingers and the 2 dog sleds make their way to the shoreline. She then looks at the ice, says, "Alright, best maybe move a little carefully. The ice does look quite thick, but, well, you never know."
I get off my axe beak again and lead it, walking beside it, trying to even out the weight. Did you know, Roman, there was a woman. There was a woman. She would have been my queen if I were only able to give her a child. I never could.
Yes, there usually is a woman, isn't there? I'm sure there will be one in the future as well. Roshik. The past is not everything, you know? The future is still waiting for us.
I suppose it is at that. And my thoughts wander over to the magnificent Queen Bjornhild and her tiger. I should have had a queen like that. As I pace my way out on the ice.
You join Velen and Roshik, Roman, as they begin making their way on the ice. Again, there is to the east what looks like a small little house, but there doesn't seem to be any signs of life there.
And no signs of any kind of bell there, right? Is the understanding that the bell would be on the ice somewhere, or?
Nope, nothing there, just this bell that's a little way out. You do imagine that normally this would all be water. Maybe you were supposed to take the little boat by the pier you're next to out to this other little pier. But again, it's all just frozen ice, except for this rather large opening in the ice, near the bell.
Well, to the bell it is. I follow.
Mind your armor, Roman, I call back over my shoulder. He'll not let you swim easily.
That's true. Well, but the ice does seem rather sturdy. I'm sure we'll be fine.
You begin making your way across the ice. It seems sturdy, but ice has a way of always seeming a little bit less sturdy than it actually is. Every now and again you hear a groaning, a creaking, and it makes you all stop. But then you continue. Again, a light snow has begun to fall. Finally, though, you do seem to make it to this other pier, nearer the actual opening. As you pass Roshik, you can clearly see that the opening in the ice is very natural, and there, the actual waves and sea are present. But you can't see much below the surface of the water.
And, do we reach this bell, then?
If you climb up onto the pier and go to the bell, which has a little wooden rope nearby, then yes, you will reach it. What do you do?
Well, I start trying to heave myself up on the pier, then.
You do so.
Probably best if we all get up. If something huge is coming, maybe it'll disturb the rest of the ice.
Yes, let's get up, I say to the kobolds as well.
The kobolds all give a grunt of approval. You've noticed they don't really seem to converse with you much. Sometimes they mutter to each other, but otherwise they seem quite happy just to be doing as they're told by Velen. Velen, though, does nod. Yes, we best all stay together. Yes, I wonder what exactly you're supposed to do. Do you think you just ring the bell? I guess one of you can ring it?
Sometimes the simplest action is the one that is correct.
And as Roman says this, I reach up to the rope in the bell to ring it.
And you ring the bell. How many times?
I give it a little ding-a-ling.
And the bell rings surprisingly loud, echoing across the ice. And for a while, nothing happens. For about 5 to 10 minutes, nothing happens, in fact.
Did I do it wrong? Is there a way of doing it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe try ringing it like maybe a few percussion beats or something. Roman, you notice that there is something stirring by the water.
I think that you have awoken it. Best just give it a few more seconds.
Really? I don't see anything, I say, and I squint.
The surface of the water begins to move. And several things pop out. They are some very strange-looking fish. Although, are they fish? They have long sort of snouts, and they have little blowholes which suddenly erupt with some water. These beings then sort of gather near the edge and seem to be looking at you quite expectantly, making kee noises at you.
Well, aren't you curious, sort? What do we do now, Valen?
Well, I don't know. Goodness me, are those dolphins? Ah, fascinating. Fascinating. What do they want, do you think?
Dolphins? Hello. We are looking to meet Angerjuk.
The dolphins sort of chatter and kee, and again seem very eager for something. Either of you can roll an insight check if you want.
I think I'll start rummaging in my bag for something to feed them with.
I roll a 10.
You notice they get excited when Roshik starts rummaging in his bag.
Food?
Do you like jerky? I say, and I hold one out.
We got any fish? We don't, right?
Actually, your rations largely consist of fish. That is the main thing you'll have been eating.
Right. Try something fish-based.
Oh yeah, this one. Here's a salty fish for you. I dangle it.
Would you like to roll an animal handling check, Roshik?
Of course. 16.
The dolphins look extremely excited and eager, waiting for you to throw them the fish. They seem very happy.
Here you go. And I throw it.
And they catch it and begin eating it, making playful sounding noises. These creatures like you, Roshik. They like you a lot.
See that? Said I used to be good with animals.
I think you've made some new friends.
Do you hear those sounds? It's so funny. I fish out another fish from my pack. I best not go too hard on this, but one more couldn't hurt.
And as you throw one more, they eagerly take it. And then they all vanish. And then there is a larger movement. And suddenly, the waves part as a far greater being emerges from the water, sending quite a bit of it splashing around. The being has a blowhole itself and empties it with a colossal noise, the water spraying 10-20 meters up in the air before falling. The individual is very interesting because you then notice there is something on the back of this creature. It looks like a boat. Not a massive boat by any means, but certainly a large enough vessel perhaps to hold like 8 or 9 people. Seems to be tied to its back. What do you two do? Velen steps back a little, looking genuinely surprised.
This must be Angerjuk.
So it must. I take a step back to try and avoid the worst of the water splashing in the waves as it hits the shore. And I suppose that must be our saddle.
The being speaks. This initially is quite surprising. It does not speak from its mouth, but instead a booming voice just seems to come from it. But you all understand the words. Hello, friends? Hello.
Hello, Angerjuk. Great one. We would like to catch a ride with you, if we may.
A ride for friends. Yes, they tell me plenty of fish. Any octopus for Angerjuk?
Do we have any octopus? I look to the kobolds. Got any octopus?
They all shrug a little. You find yourself thinking you definitely don't have the octopus a being like this would want. It's quite large.
Afraid not, Great One. We do have the fish, though. Would that suffice?
Octopus, tasty. Fish, good. No worry. You were good to friends. You are friends. Angerjuk will give ride. Where are you going?
We're looking for Aurel's temple.
Yes, what he said. It's at the temple in the Sea of Moving Ice.
The one that holds the codicil of white.
Oh dear. Not Knight's place. Angerjuk can take to much nicer place.
Yes, I know. But you see, we want to do something about the night. We want to stop it. To make it end. To bring back the light.
Night? What's wrong with night?
You can't see anything.
Angerjuk can see. Night. Night. It seems to be mulling over, you think what that actually means. It does occur to you that if this is a sea-based animal, day and night kind of don't have the same meaning.
I look over to Roman, giving him a look of, what if we just let up all this and went to the nice place of Angerjuk?
Well, you have a point, but no, come, we must help East Haven. Kaliana's waiting, and there's so many people that are depending on us.
Precisely, not to mention, we do need to get where we're going. I hope you haven't forgotten about that. I'm not paying you to go on holiday.
Have you, had any other passengers recently, Mr. Angerjuk? Or Mrs.?
No. Angerjuk can take you, just not nice. Iskra is mean.
Iskra?
Iskra. Very mean. Sharp talons.
Well, we'll try and protect you from her then.
Very well. You are friends. Angerjuk will take you to Solstice. Yes. We'll let you off. We'll even wait. But only wait for a little bit. Do not want to anger Iskra. Do not wish to anger Oril.
That's fair enough.
Yes, that is understandable.
May we, board?
The being begins to move into a position where this boat is actually quite easy to access from where you are. It's almost as if it was all designed this way. Velen begins to move forward. Wonderful, excellent, my goodness, the whale actually exists. Oh, the very amusing magic, isn't it? It's druidic in nature, I think, but let's them speak like this. Most interesting.
Very much so. Very interesting indeed.
So it is. But I do fear that what awaits us there, I mean, if it scares a being such as this, it must be something very dangerous indeed.
I'm sure you two will be absolutely fine. That's why I hired you. And besides, I'm not concerned at all. Cultists, beasts, we'll be fine.
Yes. Yes, we will be just fine. I say, and I begin boarding.
You all board. For a moment, there's a bit of stillness, and Velen does remark, "Very well then, let's be off, thank you, Angerjuk. Although, wait, what exactly... I'm not really seeing much of the way of, as she's saying this, the boat's beginning to descend. You also think you get what she means, Roshik. You're about to descend into the water. How is that going to work?"
I start holding on to the railing, hoping that there's some sort of magic protecting us here. And I see I suppose we left the sleighs behind, right?
Up to you. The sleds would fit with the dogs. It's just a bit cramped if you take them with you. However, if you don't take them with you, are you going to come back and get them?
That's it. I would have expected Velen to make that decision.
She has. She's made sure they're all boarded on. It's a little cramped. The dogs are starting to panic a little as you descend into what looks like cold ocean.
I give a kind of panicked look between Velen and Roman.
And I try to look at you reassuringly. It must be safe. It must be. Magics will protect us.
Magics, yeah.
And you are consumed by the ocean. Suddenly. Roshik, you have a few moments to be panicked, terrified, and then you notice that you're fine. You're breathing, and yet you are definitely under the ocean.
I just hope we don't have to meet any of those big octopuses. I gasp and laugh as we are surrounded by this darkness, I suppose. That must be the ocean now.
It is dark, and then slowly there becomes light. Roman, you notice what's happening. You are surrounded by something. You're not actually in the ocean. You're not wet. You're not suffocating. No, you are surrounded by a translucent bubble covering the entire little boat you're now on. The lighting begins to actually show you a little bit of what is outside. Already, the whale is descending deep into the ocean. You are surrounded by water. Above you, you see the sheets of ice that make the surface, but around you, the ocean is alive and full of things. What do you do?
Is this your doing, Angajuk? Are you the one who's created this?
No. Anga made boat.
Ah. Where is Anga?
No longer here.
They passed away?
Yes. Sad. But remember, friend.
What were they?
Anga was Anga. Made boats. Made tasty treats.
Did he look like us?
No. Anga longer hair. Shorter. Smaller little human.
Small little human. Made all this. Quite something. How old are you, Angajuk?
Angajuk is Angajuk old.
I suspected as much.
Velen is looking quite excited as she sort of steps beside you, Roman, actually chattering in an almost amicable fashion. My goodness, what a marvellous enchantment. Yes, this should do just nicely. Absolutely wonderful. Ah, excellent, that must be how you travel. A wonderful little bubble. Well, I think we'll be quite comfortable, even if it is a little cramped.
Yes, this should get us to where we need to go quite safely. It truly is amazing, although I do worry a little bit about what we will find when we get there. But, well, we will have to handle that when we actually arrive.
Goodness me, Roman, you've taken out a dragon and killed a king. I'm quite impressed with you two. What's the worst that could be there?
I think we will find out.
Trying to make myself comfortable on a sled on the furs. Sit down and just see this whole spectacle unfold.
And you begin to descend deep into the ocean. The view is wonderful. And yet, there is something sinister too, Roman, isn't there? There is a darkness to the ocean. The sea of moving ice, they say, is incredibly deep. None have traversed those depths. The water outside, after all, is freezing cold. You would probably die in moments if you were actually out in it. How are you feeling, Roman?
Yes, the light of Lathander doesn't reach this far down. And it makes me very, very afraid. It makes me feel very, very alone.
And you descend to the ocean depths, travelling out into the sea of moving ice.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The music was created by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Ugasanye, Word Clock, and Metatron Omega, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check them out at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel. for more dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, and David Hagberg for their generous support. And we would of course like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. May Lathander protect you and fill the world with light.